Welcome to Xara template tutorial lesson number 50. And this particular lesson we're going to go over exporting versus saving an animation file in the Xara Web Designer software. And if you haven't noticed, we're using the original file that we used in lesson 49. So make sure that you follow through lesson 49 so that you can go ahead and follow in lesson 50. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to File, and then you're going to look for the option that says Export Animation. And this is going to allow you to export your animation that you designed in the Xara software. And when you click that button, you're going to be able to choose where you want to save the file by using the Save In drop down menu at the top here. And you would choose wherever you want to save it within one of these folders. In my case, I saved it in my photo and graphic designers docs. And I saved it as Animation Tutorial 50, but just to show you how to do this, I'm going to go ahead and save it again, and I'm going to give it a different file name. I'll just call it Animation Tutorial for Viewers. Okay, and this is where you name your file name, and as you can see to the left of this input box, you'll see the word file name. So this is the file name that you're giving this animation. And then you can see under the part where it says Save As Type, you'll have Animated Flash, because we want to save it as a Flash file. Now there are other options you could save it as. You could save it as a video file. I highly recommend that you don't save it as a video file though, unless you're uploading it to something like YouTube, because if you save it as a video file, your animation will be really big. And as with the animation file for Flash, it's going to be a really small file, and what that means is that you'll be able to pretty much target every visitor that comes to your website. They'll be able to view your Flash animation because it's not going to be 100% determined based on their internet connection, whereas with the video file, if that person doesn't have a very fast internet connection, it may be very hard for them to watch your video animation file. And the other option you have is Animated GIF. And again, that would also be a recommended file format. So either a Flash file or a GIF are the two ones that I recommend you save it as, just to ensure that all your viewers will be able to view your animation. So go ahead and make sure that Animated Flash is selected if you don't have it selected. And then we're going to go ahead and hit Export. And that's going to export that animation file. And so let's go ahead and try to open that animation file up. Wherever you saved yours at, go on your computer and find it. I'm going to go find mine, and then I'm going to go ahead and actually I went to the wrong folder there. I'm going to go ahead and show you what happens when you open that file up in Xara. And keep in mind, this is an animated Flash file. So I found it here, Animation Tutorial for Viewers, and if you right click on it, open with, and then go to Web Designer, it's going to open that file in the Xara Web Designer. And as you can see, it posts the image or a snapshot image of the animation, and you can no longer edit it. If you try to change the color or anything, you're not going to be able to do that anymore. So like, let's say I try to change it to orange. I wanted to change that circle to an orange. You see that it turns into a square block. Well, that's because this is a Flash file now. It's no longer a editable image in Xara. It is now officially a Flash file. And I'll show you what I mean. If you right click on this and you go to Web Properties, and then you go to Placeholder, you'll see that it says Replace with Flash. So this image is linked to a Flash file, and therefore you can no longer make edits to it in Xara. So be very careful that you also save a copy of your animation file rather than just exporting it. So remember this, when you export the file as an animation Flash file, you can no longer make edits to it. You can't go in and add additional slides to your animation because you only exported it, and you don't want to fall into that, because if you complete a project and you only export it as Flash, you will not be able to make any changes even if you made mistakes in there. So let me go ahead and show you how to save an animation file versus exporting it. And by the way, the only time that you would export an animation is when you're finished and you're ready to use it on your website and you know everything is set just how you want it. That's when you want to go ahead and export your animation file. But before I do anything else, actually I'm going to show you what this looks like if we were to preview it. So let's go to File, Preview Website, and you'll see that it still makes all the transitions that it made before when we first originally created the animation file. So, and I'm going to actually increase the size of this because it's not proportionate, and so when we view it in our browser it looks really small, and we don't want that. So once you resize it to make it a little bit bigger, let's go ahead and go to File, Preview Website again, and you'll notice that it looks more like the original animation that we created before. As you can see, it transitions from a bigger text to a smaller text, and then that goes away, and then again it transitions from a big circle to small circle to a light red faded circle. So sometimes you may have to adjust the size of your exported animation when you bring it back into Xara in order for it to look more like the original that you created. So let's go ahead and close this out. We no longer need that, we can discard it. Now what if you wanted to get back to this version of your animation where you're able to go in, you're able to make edits to your animations, like maybe you didn't want this red text here at the bottom, maybe you want it at the top. How do you get back to that phase? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. In order to save this animation back to your original format so that you can open it in Xara and make edits, you have to save it. And so let's go to File and go to Save As, and when you click on Save As, it'll give you the option to save this animation. So I'm going to call it Animation Tutorial for Viewers. I'm going to give it the same file name, but it's a different file type, and under the Save As type you'll see Xara Web Designer Premium, and that's the only option that you want to keep it at. You don't want to put it under all files. Make sure that it says Xara Web Designer Premium, and this is going to save this flash animation in a format that Xara can understand and open and re-edit. So go ahead and hit save, and once you hit save, let's go ahead and open up a new document, and let's close out this document here. And once you close out that animation, let's go ahead and find that animation file we saved. In my case, I saved it in my photo and graphic designer docs. And if I go to Animation Tutorial for Viewers, you'll see this file, and this is the file that I need to open to see the animation. And you can even see the preview here if you're in Windows XP. You'll see that preview showing you what part of that animation looks like. So let's go ahead and double left click on that file for Xara Web Designer. And when you click on that file, you'll see that it brings up that original animation that we were editing. So you can now continue to make edits at any given time to this animation file by simply opening the file that I just showed you. And you can change things around, and also all the knowledge that you learned in lesson 00 for saving will apply to this as well. So if you want to make multiple copies of this animation that you can save in a series of different versions, you probably want to take a look at lesson 00 and make sure you have a solid understanding of how to use the different saving features within Xara. So that's how you export an animation versus saving it. And there is one other thing. Now that you know how to export an animation, if you watched a lesson on how to add an animation to your website, you'll now be able to take this tutorial and use it to not only create your own animation, but be able to export it, and then in any website add your own original design flash file. So I hope this tutorial was helpful in teaching you how to accomplish the goals that we mentioned. And if you have any questions, please send us a message on YouTube, and I'll do my best to try to help you out with learning anything in the Xara software. If there's a specific tutorial you want to learn, shoot me a message, give us a thumbs up, share a video, give us a favorite, subscribe. Any of those things will help us to know that we're on the right track, And thanks again for viewing this tutorial. I really appreciate it.